as we move through this thing called life, we may not be consciously aware of the number of transitions that we make as we move from one phase of life into the next. As a way to illustrate my point, the first day that you start school in primary school, everything is overwhelming. Everybody is bigger than you. You are really impressionable, and you are forced to adapt and start to develop strategies that you use to cope and to fit in. And as you start to move through that phase of your life, those strategies work in a way that you continually adapt in order to make sure that you can stay up to speed and keep performing in a way that you believe to be right. In this phase of your life, you are basically open to just about everything. Everybody that's bigger than you that says anything is deemed to be true, because big people know more than small people. And you are in a very impressionable age of your life. And as you go through that phase, you move into high school, and you move from growing into a big fish in a small pond. And then you start again in high school as a small fish in a big pond, and you continually develop new strategies, and you start to understand your own model of the world. And without realizing it, every single time you move through one of these phases, you are forced to reinvent yourself in order to cope and to thrive in those situations. One of the things that's become pretty evident to me over the last few years is this idea of people that go through these phases of their lives and make a conscious effort to reinvent themselves as a way to stay current and as a way to cope better with the next phase of their life. The one thing that seems to be a recurring theme for me is sometimes people that feel unhappy or disconnected tend to be somebody that has not reinvented themselves into the next phase of their life, where they are hanging on to a previous phase of their life as a way of, and trying to make that behavior set that they run and that strategy that they follow fit into their new phase of life. And an example of this would be someone that's just got out of a relationship and is unable to let go of the past relationship, or parents whose children have left home. Their entire last phase of their life has been focused around their children, and now without their children, they're unable to reinvent themselves to a place where they can focus on things that are now important for them. And hanging on to their old strategies and their old previous conditioning is the very thing that leads to their suffering. Their children have moved out of their house, the relationship's over, your old job is done, all of those things. You need to continually reinvent yourself as a way to be able to stay happy and stay current and work on yourself so that you find purpose in the next phase of your life. The reason that this is pertinent for me at the moment and that I'm speaking about it is because quite a few people around me at the moment are reinventing themselves as they start to identify a current phase of their life which is essentially over for them, or has got to a point where it no longer serves them. And in order for them to move forward and be happy, they are finding a new way to reinvent themselves, whatever that is. And two people very close to me are my parents, and they have been through this journey just like everybody at their age has. And I've been traveling for 4 years, so I'm no longer a focus area or a priority in their day-to-day lives anymore. My younger brother has immigrated with his family to Canada, and my parents are in a stage of their lives where they've been living in the same house for 30 years. And I'm so grateful and so proud of the change and reinvention that they're going through at the moment as they pack up their lives, rent out their house, and embark on a new adventure to go down to the coast in South Africa, and are just a shining example of how it feels like hard work to do to continually reinvent yourself. But when you do, there is so much magic that comes from that idea of letting go of the old patterns and behavior that drove you before and completely reinventing yourself into something completely new. Maybe that resonates with some of you. Hopefully you can, if not change your conditioning, maybe just be aware of these different phases of your life and noticing when one phase finishes and taking the responsibility to do the work on yourself in order to reinvent yourself for the next phase of your life.